And I've got two in my folder for male breast cancer that are citing the NRC report or the Committee on Camp LeJeune Drinking Water or the National Regulatory Council, whatever they decide to call this, the NRC report. It shows up in these denials over and over again. But ATSDR's work is not showing up in these denials. It's not being addressed in the denials. It's not addressed on your website, or not your website, but the VA's website. Okay? The information's there, and like Jerry is saying, the subject matter experts are not looking at this. There's no indication that they're looking at this material. Just like in the denial letters where, your reviewers are saying, well, we've looked over everything. There's no indications of the meta-analysis being done to support a successful plan. But yet, like I mentioned, we've got the EPA, we've got IARC, and I believe the National, Dr. Cantor was saying the National Toxicology, I can never say that. NTP, is coming out with findings on TCE. The body of science seems to be well ahead of the VA, and the VA is several years behind, and it's coming at the detriment of the veterans who served this country, and it needs to be addressed sooner than later. Unfortunately, Dr. Walter's PowerPoint supports what we're seeing in the denials, and that needs to be addressed sooner than later. And that's where we're at right now. You said at the beginning, that I guess you were told that the VA's website was up to date. That's not up to date.
No, I would say it's not.
And that's what's available to the public.
It does have a link though to ATSDR studies there, is that correct?
Yeah, but you put a link to the ATSDR studies, but at the bottom, in the paragraph form, you cite but the VA cites the National Research Council concludes. Well, ATSDRs have 4 conclusions. Well, finding a water model.
The key word in that paragraph, though, which is not highlighted, is the word, the report concludes that available scientific evidence. That study was done from 2007 and issued in June of 2009.
I agree. There's no question I agree with that, and I've had discussions with Dr. Cross already about using the NRC report in making decisions. He agrees that it should not be cited, and we will do something about that.
I mean, what I put up Dr. Portier's 2010 letter.
I'd like to follow on just real quick on SME, and I have an example that I'd like to throw out there. There was a Marine that I spoke with who shared with me his denial. In that denial, he happened to have immune deficiencies, right? They sent his claim to be adjudicated by an examiner, and the examiner was an SME. It showed on the denial paperwork that they were supposedly an SME. Took a look at their credentials to see whether they had internal medicine, infectious disease, something that would have to do with the immune deficiency. No, family practice. People with immune deficiencies don't go to normal family practice. They have to go to someone that has an understanding of internal medicine and infectious disease. So how did that happen? That's just one example I wanted to throw out there. I've seen others, and so the SME part of it seems to fall short of where at least I as a layperson would think it should be.
So just want to go back to the committee that we were talking about earlier, Brad. So this is directly off of the denial. Case-specific discussion. The Committee on Contaminated Drinking Water at Camp Lejeune has not determined a link between exposure to TCE, PCE, and the development of common variable immunodeficiency. I would like to put in as formal of a strongly worded request that we know exactly who this committee is and that we are told what part they play in the decision making, because it says here on your denial that they have made the determination. So I want to know who this committee is that's making the determination.
What committee?
That's what I'm asking. It's called the Committee on Contaminated Drinking Water at Camp Lejeune.
That's the NRC committee. It's the NRC committee. That's their formal name.
It's not a committee that exists in VA.
Yeah, but let me ask you something, Brad. Okay, maybe I'm out of line, I don't know, but
present this, our studies, that's not our conclusion I see up there. The small number of cases in the study did not show any firm conclusions. This is your interpretation of our studies. If you're going to do that, that's fine, but it would be nice if you would also put our conclusion up there and quote it, because that's not what we say in the abstract or in the conclusion of the study. And I think that's, it's very important that if you're going to describe our studies, your editorial comment is fine. If you want, I can't, every interpretation is, we can all differ on that, but at least it would be nice if you presented what we actually say in the journal article. If you could, thank you.
That would make sense, but.
And I guess what I'm trying to say is, the way this is worded, it makes it sound to the veteran like there's, something that is not. So put NRC in there. You know what I mean? Unless there's somebody else that's on this committee.
NRC in there. We're going to try and work to get that out.
But be honest, instead of hiding behind this kind of committee title, is what I'm saying.
I've never heard of that title. I'm sorry.
I have a question, real quick, just a housekeeping sort of thing. Is there going to be any questions or ability to speak on the topic of VHA since we don't have anyone from VHA here, or because there's a couple of VHA matters that we were prepared to discuss.
Without a representative, we have the option of completing with the VA first. We have a little bit of time before lunch. We also have CAP concerns directly after lunch where we can state them then as well.
I just think if Chris will give me a second, I know he's been wanting to speak, but if you could just give me 1 second. I'm pretty much concerned with the civilian side because my father was civilian DOD on the base for years. But my background is marketing, messaging, that sort of thing, and I think this gets at the heart of the messaging in 2 senses. Number one, the messaging is not correct when they arrive, but I guess my concern, just from reading an email as well, I guess my question is, how does the VA conduct research, or actually not research, but reaching out to veterans about this information? What's the frequency? How many people do you reach? And then, because I know you might mention that there may have only been 15,000 claims, but is that for lack of them understanding and then or hearing anything about it, and then when they do come to this website, they rule themselves out based on this information? Because as I go through the community, I meet people daily that either have not heard about it, or when they do hear about it, do not know where to go. And then when they do find out where to go, they read this information and then they go, "Oh, not me." And that seems to be how it plays out. So I'm curious to just how many people the VA reaches out to in the service and the frequency and what they hear.
I'm not aware of any numbers. The Navy reached out to everybody they could identify that was at Camp LeJeune, sent them a letter. Jerry, and of course, been in the documentary, it's been on TV. The information is out about Camp LeJeune, I think. We did reach out to people in the healthcare eligibility. I don't know the numbers, that's in VHA, but I do have some information about that as well I'm going to provide to you. Other than that, VHA does research, but the types and who all is involved, I'm not sure it's on Camp LeJeune. We do research on a lot of different things.
I guess my concern again goes back to the messaging, only because if it is up to the military and to the Department of Navy, for example, their website, they have information that both civilians and veterans can access. And one of the things I found was a 2012 document that's a pamphlet that also references the NRC and also mentions that according to the latest studies, there's no information or any connections and that sort of thing. So it seems like the same sort of messaging and the same sort of information that's problematic here is also problematic throughout.
Brad, I want to just take a second. Ralph Burking, who's a breast cancer survivor, Camp LeJeune veteran, and was denied in March of last year after an appeal. He sent me a notice, says, "I almost quit trying, almost gave up. This statement of the case they sent me is so depressing." And The reviewer noted in the denial didn't come out and stated hypothesizing that it's the NRC report, but the quote, the examiner noted that the only definitive studies that have been performed regarding this type of exposure do not recognize a causal link between the drinking water and the development of breast cancer. And he's referring to his exposure to Camp LeJeune. I mean, the only definitive studies. I mean, what are we talking about? I mean, and this is disguised denial.
I don't know. Was that from the Board of Veterans Appeals?
I'll bring it to you. I'll show you this here, but it's his denial, and they have that in there for it's under reasons and basis of forced denial.
Okay. Brad, I want to point out to you, and I had a very detailed conversation with Dr. Walters regarding the Camp LeJeune Family Member Program and the application process for that and how flawed that process is. One of the topics we had brought up, and I asked Sheila to pull it up here on the screen, this is the form that you are asking family members to fill out when they apply for benefits through the VA. I'd like to scroll down to the drug abuse, alcoholism or alcohol abuse, testing for infection with HIV, and sickle cell anemia, and ask you what on earth any of that has to do with Camp LeJeune family member benefits.
I don't know, but that's a standard language that we use because there are statutory provisions which do not allow us to release that kind of information without express consent.
In November, I was told that this form would be pulled down and that an appropriate medical release form would be put up. There is no possibility that a civilian or a dependent can fill out this form with any kind of success. And I would also like to know how many family members have applied for benefits and how many have been approved and how many have been denied.
I have that information. As you know, the regulations for veterans, we started treating veterans from the day the law was passed. Family members, a different story because we had no prior history of treating family members for anything and no way to do that without regulations. They were lengthy. Regulation process is lengthy. I know you're all aware of that. So far, 156 family members have applied to this program. It's too new as of this time to have any statistics on who has been approved or denied admission. We really don't know that at this time. We are required by law, however, to provide this information to Congress each year. 16,320 veterans have applied for the Camp LeJeune program as of September 30th, 2014. 13,372 have been accepted into the Camp LeJeune program as of December 30th. 2,816 veterans report at least one of the 15 covered conditions, and 1,231 have been treated by VA for a Camp LeJeune condition under the law. As the latest data we have.
So would it be safe to assume that the VA is denying people like they denied me, which is simply to state that you don't have one of the following conditions? That's what I received. I received I'll be put on a shelf and not a denial. So I would suggest that you're fudging the numbers. And
I would suggest that we are not.
Well, since he kind of went to that topic, there have been several Marines that I have spoke to that have applied through the VHA for treatment and so forth that have been denied. It just came back and said that they were denied. I'm not going to use my own case, but there were a couple of others that they don't know why they were denied. They just said,
do they have one of the 15 conditions listed in the law?
No.
Well, then they would not be eligible for care.
They would not.
No. You have to be having one of the 15 conditions in the law to be treated for.
That's not true.
Yes, it is true.
It is.
Absolutely true.
No, you actually can apply for veterans for VHA. All it asks is that you were there for 30 days.
You have to demonstrate one of the 15 conditions in the law. That's in the law.
That's in the law.
Yeah, it's just,
You can look it up.
it is. It's right here in there prior to 15.
I would suggest that you've only received 128 applications for family member benefits because you don't even have the correct forms on the website.
156.
156 out of how many estimated? I noticed that you were estimating 3,000 per year.
I did not estimate that. I have no. information on that at all.
That was in the up for comments section. That you estimated 3,000 per year with a total man hour of 15.
In the regulations. I don't know where that came from. The other thing about it is we did ask two of the conditions listed in the law are neurobehavioral effects and hepatic steatosis. No one really knows what that covers. So we asked we asked IOM to provide us with exactly what they mean by those conditions so we know who we can treat and ensure we don't miss anyone who may have something like that. Their report is scheduled to be released in March, and we're looking forward to getting that.
Could you repeat the two conditions?
Yes, neurobehavioral effects and hepatic steatosis.
Also known as fatty liver.
Also known as fatty liver, yes.
And just to say, this is one of the reasons I'm so anxious to get Dr. Scher here, the immunotoxicologist, because the newest research is showing that exposure to toxins creates inflammation, and inflammation is being linked to autism. Science, not hooey. So these things are going to be important in the future. So I think getting this expert involved is really important. Just want to throw that in again because I can't stop beating the horse. Brad, I have a question that I promised Ryan, who lost his wife, that I would ask you. He needs the statistical evaluation of how well Louisville is doing with approving and disapproving veterans' claims. He says he has the last 3 of those that have been published by different sources, but there's a lot of doubt as the correctness of the numbers of the disapprovals and approvals. So he would like to have some transparency and to have an update.
Whenever you have a subject matter expert cited in a denial through the VBA, why don't you cite the name of this subject matter expert? I mean, this person is involved in making a big decision on somebody's life. Why are not these subject matter experts named? I mean, if they're a subject matter expert, then they shouldn't have a problem with their name being out there. I mean, these people work for the government, for God's sake, and they're making the decision. Their name should be there. Do you agree or disagree?
Their names are in the Veterans Claims file.
They're not cited in the
Not in the decision. We've never done that. How does somebody find out who this SME is, subject matter expert? They can look at their claims file or they could ask. But I doubt that they would, they could contact them individually.
Well, I'm not talking about contacting, I'm talking about vetting them to find out just what kind of subject matter expert they are.
We got a request, I think, for some kind of information like that, and I believe our FOIA officers held that was an invasion of privacy.
It is not. These people are making decisions for the federal government. They are employee of the government.
And we have examples where names have been given. So if some names have been given, then why can't all the names be given?
Well, Brad, these subject matter experts are overriding letters written by doctors. I've got a claim that I got yesterday from Mel Breast Cancer where the physician wrote a letter in support of the veteran, and the subject matter expert basically discounted it, said that his opinion mattered more, and denied the claim. But without the name, without the qualifications, who do we know who this is? I mean, do we have a general practitioner overruling an oncologist?
I mean, that's only without naming these people and giving their title. Your subject matter experts, for all I know, could be the janitor, or it could be Alfred E. Newman.
I don't know. I can't answer that. They don't work for me. I don't know who they are myself. So All I know, they're identified by VHA as occupational environmental health specialists.
Well, it's really scary when I look at a decision and they're citing something that's supposed to be factual, which is the 2009 NRC report, and they get the date wrong and they misspell the word council.
I think we've discussed that. I'll take that back. What we can about it.
Do we need to go, Jerry, is this something that we need to take up with congressional representatives?
I've already done that.
So, but it's something that the rest of us should also take up with our congressional
Oh,
representatives?
absolutely.
So I would say to everyone listening, demand that the subject matter experts are named. And if not, that there's some sort of process for finding and for some sort of transparency, because this is people's lives. And I agree. I think, I think Marines and their families deserve to know who's deciding whether they get care or not. So everyone needs to contact the representatives.
And, when these people accept their paychecks every month or every 2 weeks, whatever your pay schedule is, it gave up their privacy to keep their name hidden on decisions that they're making about somebody else's life. So, just food for thought.
Also, going back to the family member program, isn't the VA in effect asking civilian doctors to make a determination of whether exposure causes the illness for their family member?
No.
I would disagree based on what the process that has gone through.
There are 15 listed conditions in the law allowing treatment for veterans and dependents.
Correct.
If you don't have one of those, you're not going to get treated.
But you asked for a civilian physician to sign off on whether or not that exposure, that illness was caused by exposure to the water at Camp LeJeune.
Then that's presumptive. There's no reason
on the one side.
No. No such thing.
Final questions, comments from Brad? Hearing none.
Thank you for showing up and taking all the heat by yourself, which I think somebody should answer for the fact that you had to do that.
I'll let him know how happy I was.
We're about to break for lunch, Tim. We'll handle your questions about VHA during the CAP concerns afterwards. We'll break for lunch and we reconvene at 1:15.